And of course, James, I think there's 30 countries taking part, and I don't know how many handballers. And now, for those that's watching, particularly Jean Paul over in Cork, it's not the French handball, Jean Paul. This is the real deal. You know, this is the real stuff. And of course, you know, James, as you head to the City West, I know Maria, she's fighting against time with her injury. She had a bad torn on her ankle there a couple of months ago, and I don't know whether she'll be fit or not to play.
Yeah, it's sort of touch and go at the moment. She was injured at the National, so she has this foot drop on her leg, but they're looking after her in Daisy Hill, the consultant McCann and that. But she'll be there supporting us, and the two kids are playing as well. Faker is 7 and he's playing under 11, and Kalisha is 10 and she's playing under 11, so it's a family thing. The Olympic Council are coming this time to the World Championships because they wanted it as a demonstration sport in Rio in 2016. So we need 56 countries. There's 33 countries going to come. Chris Curran and them in Croke Park are doing a lot of publicity. They obviously have to fly these Olympic boys in and put them up and look after them. But they're going to watch the handball and then see can they introduce it. They introduced Basque Pelota, I think, in '92 as a demonstration sport in. So we're trying to get it. So if it gets to the Olympics, they'll change it from handball to a sport called wall ball, because there is a handball in the Olympics at the moment that you throw into the back of the net. So they change it to wall ball. It's the one wall version of handball. Like if you look at these collection of balls that I have here in front of me, it's played with the racquetball type thing. And the whole idea of it is one wall. It's easy to set up in schools. All you need is one wall, and you know there's an awful lot of schools in Tyrone that have a one-wall alley built into them. And sure, a simple racquetball costs you a couple of pounds. And in handball at the moment, there's grades for everybody. It used to be quite elite in the sense that you will have your senior players like myself, but down along there's people like Peter McSherry and all from Savile who play in the older age groups and that. And they're expecting, I think at the moment they've 2012 is the official entry list, but they're flying them in from all over to play in this. There's a thing called the Federation Cup, and that's what the Irish Olympic Council and the International Olympic Council will come and see. So that they're hoping with all these countries get together. There was a meeting over in Italy that we were out playing in Italy, and they were looking at, and to get to 56 countries, they were going to split Ireland into the provinces. So they're going to say Leinster is a country, Munster is just to get it in. But since that, there's a lot of countries have come on from South America. So hopefully we'll have it in the Olympics in 2000.
We need 52 countries.
You need 52 countries to ratify it as a sport to play in the Olympics. They'll decide then on whether it can be entered as a demonstration sport. And
well, James, Simon, I suppose from our point of view, that would be a fantastic achievement.
Well, we would have a chance of winning a gold medal, probably this man here.
Well, if you think about it, like it'd be the only GAA sport that they would have in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like with so many countries playing it, like handball was created in Ireland in around 1044 up against a wall in Carrickmacross. Actually, no, in a wall against Castleblaney. There's records of it. We had it here and nurtured it in the 1800s, sent it to America where it took off crazy in New York, and then it spread all over. But then the Basques and the French had their own version of Pelota that they played. And in 1918 there was a big meeting called the Talton Games above it was the old Garda Depot. And they got the Basques over and they got the Irish over, and they thought this was amazing. So we went over to return the fixture about 7 years ago over to San Sebastian and Ascoitia to play, where they made us play with the monster ball, as they call it. The Basques, because they're strong men, as they say, play with this type of ball, which is like a mini hurling ball. There's a piece of cork inside it. They're about €70 each, and they keep these in a fridge. So when we got off the plane, we were presented with this. Now, we've never played with anything this size before. This would be our original hard ball. So as you can see, there's a phenomenal even just the dimensions. This is light compared to.
And it's quite heavy.
Very heavy and hard.
It's like a small cricket ball, in fact.
Like a small cricket ball. And what happened was they took us in and they said to us, we have €1,000 on yous that yous are going to beat the Basques. We'd never seen the Basque. We'd no understanding of the Basque. So this old fella, he was 72, who's a professional Basque player, says, we'll go in and we'll have a tip around and see what you play. He absolutely destroyed every single one of us with this ball. And he turned around to the cameraman at the thing and just went like this here. We went out, we played, it was live on TV, there was 3 million people watching it between Spain and thing. Very, very nervous going out because we'd never experienced anything like that here. You might have the odd camera crew and maybe you might have a bit on the news. But like when you're told I think it was a bit psychological too to tell you that there was a a couple of million people watching. They give you these long trousers to wear, you can't wear shorts, and then you wrap a ribbon around you, and if you're on one team, you're a blue ribbon or a red ribbon.
Wee bit like the boxing.
Wee bit like the boxing, you're not allowed to speak to the referees, which is the same as our GAA, but they will put you off straight away. In other words, you're not allowed to speak to the referee, you can't query the referee. And we played and we lost, but we got a great experience, and they've since come back over and started to play with the rubber ball. So the Basques then took this down to South America and Mexico, so that's where the whole thing is growth from. But in the Olympics, they're going to play wall ball, is what they're trying to go. So we're all looking forward to that. Like whether I go as a player or as a coach to Rio, it'll be something that hopefully we'll all get a rap at.
I sincerely hope, James, that you do go as a player, because again, you know, we're looking at James here and we don't realise that this man has crossed many boundaries to get where he is. James, I think you've won like something like 27 All-Ireland titles.
A lot of All-Ireland titles, Damien, since I was down in Wexford. Won a lot of underage stuff up along. Lucky enough to got to represent Ireland. I think that was the secret. All Ireland's come and go because you play different codes of one wall. You can have a couple throughout the year, but it's representing the country at senior level was the big thing for me. I was very lucky to get to travel the world to play in France and Italy and America, and I suppose I developed Crohn's disease shy on 10 years ago. That set me back a bit because I actually played in an All-Ireland final in Croke Park and I collapsed after it, and they took me to Daisy Hill and they told me I had Crohn's disease. I didn't know what inflammatory bowel disease was. They went and told me. Now that set me back for a while, but I kept going, and unfortunately the thing that set me back the most is last year I was playing in Williamstown, and with this racquetball, we don't wear goggles. There's the goggles there. Nobody has ever worn them. And I was playing a fella from Tyrone called Rory Kelly, and it was in the final, and I was winning comfortably. Well, I suppose, yeah, I was winning comfortably. And the ball came off the front wall, and he hit it with his fist, and I turned around right into him, and it hit me in the eye. Now, stupidly enough, from my own point of view, I kept playing. Now, it was rubbing my eye. I played, and I lost. Took me to Daisy Hill. The consultant Daisy Hill says, you need to go to the Royal. Went up to the Royal. They looked at me there and said, come back the next day. And unfortunately, I have no central vision in my left eye, or will ever have it. There's a consultant up in the Royal, Sharkey, who's looked after me, but of all the balls that I've ever played with, everything else is harder than the racquetball. But because it hit me perfectly, flush in the eye, I've lost it. Whereas if this hit you, this might take the head off you. But this just happened to hit me in the eye. But I didn't let that get me down either, because I went and I was lucky enough that I won the big tournament this year. That's what that trophy's for.
Just let's lift the trophy up there, James, because
this is the Mount Talbot Open Trophy. This is the biggest one-wall tournament, club tournament of the whole throughout the year. There was 400 in it, and to be honest with you, going into it, I didn't think I was going to win it. Young McKevitt from Cullyhanna was clipped in the earlier rounds, but I got to the final and I won it. It was very emotional to win it because, to be totally honest with you, I didn't think because handball is such a fast game, when you've sight in one eye, the depth perception goes. You know what I mean? So the ball, it's very hard to judge the ball off the wall, but Mairead looked after me well, and I think I'm back playing as good as I ever have.
And of course, I know you have a little, I suppose, James, you feel that you can go on to the Worlds and possibly win a world title. And I have no doubt, Simon, you know, James is a fantastic athlete, and he hasn't let any of these things beat him.
No. I just got a comment in here from John Joe. What an interesting character. Doesn't sound like a South Armagh accent, though, and such a successful family.
Oh, well,
we can't dispute that, John Joe.
John Joe, he's tied into the Reeves from White Cross, so definitely a great story.
He's a Wexford man. We'll talk about Wexford in a minute. But Damien, let's just say, like, that's a story for any budding sports star. Like, overcome something. Like if three, like I'm very familiar with Crohn's disease and the effects of it, and an injury like that, like James, can I ask you, because you were playing with a softball, was it because maybe the awareness? Because if you weren't playing with something like that, well, you might think you're a bit safer playing, like I said, instead of playing with the pelota as opposed to that.
The problem is that since I lost the sight in the eye, it's sort of been highlighted that they have to wear goggles with the racquetball. If we were to go out and play in Savile or the Sports Centre with the inside ball, it's mandatory to wear goggles in the court. So we would never think it's an automatic thing. But with the racquetball, because nobody has ever been injured with it, but Croke Park came along then and decided we're going to have to make goggles mandatory for the one wall ball. But the consultant stressed that I could have been hit in so many other places in the eye, but it was just unlucky that it was flush. Straight on, because it came off his fist and hit it straight in the eye. But it's like anything else. As your man from Sparta, the Sparta film said to the king, God gave me 2 eyes, but I only need one to do my job.
Well, James, there's no question about it. Of course, when you talk about, the Worlds, you went over to Portland and you won on the west coast of America. And of course, you also said that you and your wife, you have won both world titles.
Yeah, Mairead was the first Irish adult to win a one-wall world title. The World Championships have been going since about 1964, and they happen every 3 years. But she was the first person to win with that ball, and I was lucky enough that I'm the second person to win with it. So, like, she's 1 and I'm 2. So whoever comes 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 will have to be there. Like, the 2 kids have a lot of pressure on them to live up to it,
Well, I've no doubt, and I know they're 2 youngsters. They're class handballers. I've seen them playing, James, and I know exactly. But also, not alone were you world title champions. Both of you. You also both won the Nurian Moore Sports Awards.
Yeah, that was a great. I remember the night. Even at Mairead's night, it was fantastic to hear her name. And when I was nominated, just to be nominated for the Sports Awards is a great thing. There's so many people there on the night get recognised for the great work that they do in sports. And definitely winning the Sports Awards is one of the highlights and it's a great night in the Canal Court. It's fantastic to meet all these different sports people from all over. And I'm not sure, maybe I'll get another rap out of it.
Well, if you go win another world title, James, who knows? But, Simon, we've seen sporting films, and we could talk a lifetime about sporting films. But there was a film, Johnny and Al Pacino was in it. Al Pacino was the
Any Given Sunday.
No. This was he worked in a restaurant. I can't think of the name of the film, but Al Pacino was out the back playing with the policeman. And what was he playing?
Handball.
Yeah, and if you watch the Rocky 2 film.
Yes, there is an incident. Yeah, that's right.
There's an incident. In New York there, we'd have a lot of friends in New York. It's professional in New York, and there's some unbelievable characters in New York. The best player that's ever played the game with that ball is a boy called John Rookie Wright. And John would play you with a mountain bike on his shoulder as a handicap. So that, like, he is so good, he'd come and say, there's Damien McCullough, I'll play you for $50, but I will hold a mountain bike on this shoulder and play with this hand. He makes about between $80,000 and $100,000 a year, because in New York, there's a lot of side betting, but it's a big money game. We were out there in last March, and we landed on the courts there in West 54th Street, and it looks a bit weird when a fella with a bald head and an orange beard comes into the courts, because they're very set in their ways out there. So we found it very difficult to go out there and integrate, just from the point of view of they didn't like anybody strange coming in. I ended up playing doubles with a fella out there and we won, but we were quickly told, please do not come back to the court again. Because and
of course they tried to catch you out, James. Isn't that right?
They tried to catch me out. They put me with somebody who just wasn't up to the standard. But I switched over and was lucky enough to get out of it. But there's so many courts. There's 2,500 courts in New York. And anytime I say to somebody, we ever go to New York, do you see the handball alley? I said, no, I've never seen a handball alley. But they're nearly on most of the streets, and they all have their own wee clubs. But the Americans, when they come over for the World Championships in October, will be the ones to beat. The top in the open group that I'm playing in, the Americans will come over. They will be the hard people to beat. The Basque, the French, and that will be competitive. Belgium's very competitive. Ireland sent a team over to Belgium a couple of weeks ago. Young McKevitt from Cullyhanna was out playing in it. They lost, I think, in the quarterfinals. But the European countries are catching up very much in handball. Say about 10 years ago, they were a little bit behind. But they're now slowly getting on the wall, because wall ball will open it up to everybody.
And of course, if it becomes an Olympic sport,
for sure,
it'll definitely show the world how good James Doyle is, Simon.
Well, I've followed James in the last time I met him, and a couple of years ago, I'm chatting to him. I can't get over the fact that you and your wife are both world champions. Is there a precedent for that in any other sport that you know of, James?
No. There is a couple of handball families in Ireland, but they're not there's no husband and wife world champions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There might be a mother or father who might have a child as an underage world champion, but there's no, and I don't know whether that'll ever be equalled.
Well, James, it's a lovely story, and
Yeah.
of course you've heard it here on Destination Uri this evening, how James got over his illness, and of course world champion, and he's heading back to the City West in October to try and get another one. And of course James does that. We'll be with him all the way.
Yeah.
And of course he made his debut earlier on today, Simon,
The commentator.
as a co-commentator.
Just saying here, Damien, we're getting a few things about our dress sense tonight.
well,
Johnny Cash, look.
Eamon says G3 get a 3-for-1 deal in the wee boys.
Well, okay.
And my old friend Conor Hoggy, being smart as usual, says, was there selling black shirts in Primark this weekend?
Well, okay, this is how it worked with me tonight. I come home and Teresa says to me, Damien, you're not wearing a white shirt again. People will think it's the only shirt you have. And I says, but sure, that could be a new shirt every week. Nobody would know. She says, don't be stupid.
Well, you see, the reason I wore this was because you wore the white shirt last week.
Well,
because
the reason
looked like the Bobsy twins.
That's why I says to Teresa, what am I going to wear tonight? She says, there's a nice black shirt upstairs. So I goes right then on. But I was with James all day, and I didn't realise James had a black shirt on.
Yes,
So
I'd been listening to Johnny Cash. There was an autobiography of Johnny Cash I was watching on YouTube, and I don't know why I put the black shirt on.
well,
There
I
we
suppose
go.
in honour of Johnny Cash,
Yeah,
the
well,
three,
yeah.
three lads.
Yeah, Stevie wants to know. I think we explained the start, but I think Stevie wants to know all the different size balls. Could you?
Okay, well, we look at them again, James.
Yeah.
If we go with the yellow ball,
Yeah, different size balls.
Yeah,
Stevie wants to know.
the yellow ball is the ball that they're going to use in the City West this year.
That's the national championships in
It's
Ireland.
there's no difference between this, only the colour, the blue and the yellow. It's just that they've painted the courts blue for the TV cameras.
Oh, right.
So
The
it's a
ball
lot
can
easier to
see the
use
ball.
whereas if we were to go out and play in an outdoor competition, we would play with the blue ball. These are basically a standard racket ball that if you were playing racket ball, you would use. They're made by O'Neill's up
So that's
in
the
Strabane.
GAA championships.
Yeah, that's the one wall handball
One
balls.
wall, right.
Yeah, if you were going to Savile, the sports centre, Eugene
That's
Quinn
is
and
it three
Armagh.
wall?
No, the one wall is just obviously just the
Yeah,
one
one
wall.
wall.
The other one is they call it a 5-wall court because you can play off the ceiling.
Yes.
The lights are in the ceiling, and this is the ball that to play with. It's a little bit harder. There's more air pressure into it, and this is what they call a 40 by 20 ball, which is the international ball. It's just the size of the court. It's 40 foot long by 20 foot wide. You couldn't really play with the bigger ball inside in the court because of the dimensions.
Yeah.
A kid's ball is a little bit lighter, and a lady's ball in this is just a little bit darker. Now the two other monsters. This is the original. This is an original hard ball that they've been playing in Ireland since the 1600s. This is made with cork inside, wrapped like a hurling ball, and this is goat skin. There's only 3 people in Ireland that make these at the moment. Vincent Brennan is one of them from thing. It's a sort of a very old Irish hardball game. You'd see the fixtures for it. It's not as popular as obviously the rubber balls because this hurts your hand.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so.
Big thing. And obviously when you travel away, like in the World Championships, the big fun will be the Basque boys will take this ball out and hit it up against the wall, like just for show, and everyone will look around because it's so.
James, can I just see this?
James, did they wear gloves with that, or just
No,
the hand?
no.
Well, I can tell you, if you just listen.
Yeah. The Basques, what they do is, from the age of 5, they have a training program. When we're playing handball, we sort of flick our wrists and use our arms a lot to propel the ball. The Basques use their shoulder, so there's a lot of shoulder mechanics in it. Because they use their shoulder then, they're not really contacting the ball in their hand, they're nearly sort of flinging it. But we went to, when we were in Ascoitia and San Sebastian, there was 10 and 12-year-olds could drive that up to 120 feet up on the wall as a natural thing. Do you know what I mean? But that's basically the different sizes of the balls. Now, obviously, with underage handball, they differ a little bit, but mostly the colour. But if you're playing in Ireland, that's the balls that you'll tend to be playing with.
Well, I can tell you, James, I wouldn't like to get hit with that.
No, that one there.
It's like being hit by a stone.
That's exactly
Yeah,
like.
a lot of the Pialota players wear sort of a helmet because you tend not to look back when the person's behind you playing Pialota. Where in handball we look back to see what they're doing. They sort of look forward. So a lot of them wear a helmet so that obviously to get clipped in the back of the head. But you know what I mean.
And James, of course, handball is a very technical game as well. And I know sometimes when you're pushing the ball down either one side of the court or the other, and you're looking to see where the other player is. Because I had the great privilege of going to see you playing in Carrickmacross one day. I think the one and only time I ever went to see you. And where they end up, I ended up on TV.
That's right. Yes, that'd be the, yeah. There's a couple of studies done onto it for VO2 max fitness. itself and squash and tennis are very, very demanding on the body. Because handball is an ambidextrous sport and you're using your two hands, if you have a weakness on one side, you can be found out very quick. So, like, if I was playing you, Damien, I'd be serving down to your left hand constantly.
Well, you'd be serving down my right hand. I'm a left hand, James, everywhere. And even if you had a bicycle and a bus on your shoulder, you still beat me. But Simon, it's something else.
I have watched handball quite a few times out in Savile.
Yes,
Out
yes.
with Peter. And young, what do you call her? Great handball player, young girl.
Lorraine Haverin.
Lorraine Haverin.
Yes.
And I've seen her play a few times when I was
Yes,
out there.
fantastic
And
player.
like, it's just an amazing sport. And I think it is, Damien, too. The fitness level. People don't appreciate how fit you have to be to play handball.
Oh, I'll tell you another little story about handball. There's a wee man from Derrybeg. He can't think of his name, but great handballer. And he was over in the sports centre one day.
Daisy.
Daisy is right.
Daisy.
Daisy was a fair age. And
Daisy's there, yeah.
And there's this young boy come up, from Belfast. Who am I playing? I'm playing the old fella. No bother. Well, Daisy says, yeah. And he absolutely scourged them off the park.
I've seen Daisy a few times playing in the sports centre as well. But Daisy, like yourself, Jim, I'm sure, you have to dominate the centre, don't you?
Oh, control the middle. Yeah, whoever controls the middle wins because you're pushing the person out behind you the whole time. So the older players, because they don't run as much, then it's nearly a natural instinct to go in and stand in the middle of the court. Yeah. And when the other boys are running around like a gazelle out the back.
Yeah. Now a couple of comments here. Snoop says you're a legend because of your injury. Criteria for Olympic sport, you've already explained, you need 56 countries.
52 countries. They're inviting 33. If they reckon by the time it comes, the Olympic Committee will allow it to go as a demonstration sport. And if we get it as a demonstration, there's no medals, unfortunately, for a demonstration sport. As it says, it's demonstrated, but it will be shown. You know, so.
But James, it would be fantastic, and I have no doubt that if it does happen, and it is in Rio, and I have no doubt that James Doyle, our own James Doyle, will be there.
That's
absolutely fantastic.
Now a comment here, David. Eddie McKevitt's young lad, great up-and-coming handball player. Do you know?
Young Conor McKevitt from Cullyhan is fantastic. Yeah. He actually beat me in a tournament this year in Williamstown, and he's going to be very much the future. He was out in Holland there. I think he could clip a world title this year. He's fantastic.
From Paul here, Damien. I have tried to play Doyle on a number of occasions, resulting in not being able to move for a few days. One of the legends of the game.
That would be Paul Shields. Paul Shields out in Ballyholland School. I'm actually, believe it or not, I am playing Paul tomorrow in Savile at 4:30, so I hope he has the rest of the week booked off.
So Paul, there you go. You can let us know how you did, Paul.
Yeah. Brilliant, absolutely. It's a great story, I have to say. And the more I hear of it, James, as I said, it's not often, Simon, we get the opportunity, but it's great.
Certainly.
Absolutely. And don't forget, keep your comments coming in. I'm having difficulty getting mine up here, but we're going to be taking a break in a couple of minutes, and hopefully I'll get it sorted. But it is, Simon, it is good. And there's some results just coming in from the Down Championships. The Down finals today, the Premier Reserve Championship final, 1.13, Bourne 10 points. Reserve Championship final, Reserve 3-5, Leitrim 11 points.
Well, Reserve flat at the minute. We'll talk about them later. They're into the quarterfinals of the Down Championship. And I think they've also top Division 2 at the moment.
So Reserve are going well. And of course, don't forget, this is the Sunday Sports Show here with Simon, myself, and of course James Doyle, our legendary handballer from this area, who has captured a world title. His wife has captured a world title, and James is heading to the Worlds in October with 33 countries, James?
Yeah, 33, yeah.
33 countries and 2,200 athletes taking part. It's going to be a mighty weekend or whatever. I can tell you what, Simon, I wouldn't mind doing the Sunday Sports Show from the City West. And
a good night.
That would be, that would be. No, that's a thought. We'll have to throw that one out there in the ether.
As I said, Connor wants to know, James, what facilities are there in our area for one wall or 5 wall, etc.?
Well, I suppose you have the 3 courts in Down. You have Downpatrick. Sorry, I tell a lie. You have 4 courts. You have Clonduff, Downpatrick, Savile, and the Sports Centre. The great thing about the one wall is that the one wall revolution is sort of starting in Tyrone and moving out. So any secondary school now can nearly build a one wall alley.
Funny you talk about that. When I was at the Abbey, the old Abbey now up in
Courtney Hill,
we have it called the handball alley.
Yes.
Compared to St Coleman's, St Coleman's had real handball
alleys.
Yes,
the outdoor courts.
The outdoor courts. But we had this wall of a school, and like it was a skill in itself playing off the one wall.
Well, they're trying to get it introduced into the PE curriculum. as a sport. And I know I keep mentioning Tyrone, but the sort of the revolution is coming from there. I know down in Wexford they're building courts inside halls. We're trying to get a court built up in Whitecross, hopefully in the hall, because once you're in and you have it marked out, people can go in and start learning the game. And because there's so many different grades, they have this grade entered now called Challenger. Now Challenger means that if you've never struck a ball in your life, you can go in and play, and it's the most fun.
Simon?
You two start playing each other. You're wearing the outfits. You can play doubles.
Great. Well, look. Well, maybe give a pass on that one.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Give a pass on that one.
I think we'll be all right. McCullough, what do you think?
Yeah. You just have to decide which on the left or the right.
Well, I would probably go on the right, and I should be going to the left.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It's a good one. Well, I tell you what, James. If you do get your one wall up in Whitecross, Simon and myself will come up and we'll play a challenge match.
Yes, of course, that'd be brilliant. And we'll have to record that. That would be definitely worth.
But here, you and me against this man still wouldn't be a competition.
No, but it's and this is the thing about promoting the one wall. If you go in and play in Savile or the sports centre, you have to be tooled out with gloves and different sorts of things. With one wall, you could play it up against the gable wall of the house and have a competition. And this is where hopefully where the Olympic Committee will see the simplicity of it. But when athletes play it at a high level, like when we're playing this, it flies. But I watched in the Nationals this year, 2 boys, 70 years of age, playing. And it was their All-Ireland playing each other. It was just fantastic.
And of course, James, this argument comes across to me all the time when we talk about, like take the likes of Crossmaglen winning the All-Ireland, and then you take some team like Aero winning the junior championship for the first time in so many years. Things like that. Ackles and the Finn doing well in the championship and down.
Yeah.
When they get in and they win their games, that's their All-Ireland.
Yes.
Correct.
And that's the beauty about sport.
Correct.
I think now we're rattling down towards the bottom of the half hour here. So Sean's giving me good luck here, and he says, I think we're going to have to go for an ad break. So stay with us. We'll be back in a minute or two.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for. Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young.
And welcome back to the Sunday Sports Show here, just off camera there. We're having, of course, a bit of debate about all the things. We've got a couple of more. Sean has got my laptop working here, thank God for that. Of course, Simon, we were talking earlier on there, and we're talking about, James taking part in sport and different things. Of course, the Davina Marks, Mitchell's Blitz was on yesterday, and there was 5 teams, Gaelic for Mums. It was a great day, and it was a fantastic occasion.
Yeah, it was great. There was actually a lot of Gaelic from us on yesterday. Sean Marks had won 2 in their ground. They were playing St Monica's from North Dublin, and I heard they had a great day as well. And won by 3. The Sean was won by 3 points. My good friend Connor just texted me in the details there, and his cousin actually, Anita, is one of the players from St Monica's in the north side of Dublin. I want to say hello to them. They're tuning in tonight, watching us.
Well, girls, if you're watching in, we have to say we're not the legends here tonight. This man is the corner, because this man is absolute.
This man's famous. We're infamous.
Because look, we're all wearing black.
We're all wearing the same. We're all on the same team.
What is that? The Johnny Cash. Maybe if Sean could pull a Johnny Cash song up there, we might.
So, say hello to the girls in North Dublin, and I said the Mitchells are getting from all this thing, which is great to see and getting out, and playing a bit of football here. I see my good friend Mary, Connor's wife, scored the winning goal.
Well, of course, when you say, James, about the handball and the different levels and the different groupings, it's the same with Gaelic for Mums.
Exactly, isn't it a great way?
The social aspect of the GA is starting to catch on now. I know.
Well, they had a great night last night in the Canal Court, because that's where I met them and found out all the crack of it yesterday.
So it's well done to all the Gaelic for Mums. Well done to the Mitchells yesterday for the Davina Marks.
Yeah, that was a good idea too. Yeah,
great stuff. And of course, James, today we have to say, we had a great crack today down in the athletic grounds. We had them listening all, as I say, we had them from Timbuktu to Tullysarn, from Cookstown to Crossmaglen, from all around the world. We had the lads from Carrickcruppen watching the game today, all the way from Australia. And it was, it's a huge concept that Destination Uri have taken on board here now, and it's starting to capture the imagination of the public.
Yeah, so people are listening in, and people are, because they've access to Facebook and Twitter, they're getting the links, and now with the Destination Uri app, once they have it on their iPhone or their Android device, your match is there.
It's fantastic, and it's a great compliment from our point of view that when we get comments in. Speed puts in here, listening to the commentary today from Morgan Athletic Grounds. Brilliant job, well done, lads, and that's great. And of course, Simon, we have to say hard luck to.
Just Mary comes in with hard luck to Dan Camogues. I was following it on the internet this morning. I have to say, Meath deserved to win, but unfortunately, 111 to 19. The girls tried their hard out. Have to put a big speak out to the 2 cars, Fanula and Sarah Louise.
Yeah, Fanula, lovely. I met her a couple of years ago up at the Puck Fada on the Cooley Mountains, and she won. The girls won that day, and
fantastic footballer as well.
A super footballer and a fantastic camogie player. But I suppose it's hard getting.
It's hard, like when you get to the All Ireland final, like, and
only a couple of points.
Only a couple of points in at the end, and and they were pushing at the end, but just couldn't.
Well, all we can say is hard luck.
Got there, it was young Braniff, Braniff got a point, got within 2 in injury time, and they're pushing and just
looking for the goal.
Unfortunately,
it didn't come. But
this man's Old County.
Well, Wexford.
Yeah,
what a game.
Yeah, a good strong tradition of camogie in Wexford. The girls train as hard as the men, and they're very hard to beat on their day.
James, I watched the game. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic.
Well, I know, Simon, last week Alan Shearer tweeted on Twitter about the hurling.
Hurling, yes.
And I seen some girl. She put another one out to them and says, "Look, put another tweet. Don't forget about the men. Watch the women tomorrow." And of course, up to all expectations, fantastic.
Oh, fantastic game. There was a 5 goal. 2 of the goals would have graced any game. So it was Wexford full forward, Katrina Brodnick.
Yes.
She scored a goal in the first half, I said this well. And then the corner forward, number 15, she scored a goal straight off the ground, Damon, into the top corner. Yeah, I never coming in. But you're talking about, and the speed of the game and the skill level was phenomenal.
Well, Simon, just when you talk about goals being scored, last night in the athletic grounds, Stevie McDonald scored an absolute scorcher. I mean, I just unbelievable goal, and we thought we'd seen it all. And then young McCreesh from Mullaban in the second half. He scored one every bit as good towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
And of course, Destination Uri was there to cover them games. And Killeavy had a comfortable enough win last night over. I think they won by 10 points to beat Mullaban last night. There was 5 goals and 27 points scored last night. So again, great coverage from Destination Uri.
Yeah, one actually in the game today, in the space of a minute, Charlie Jacob scored the goal for Wexford. Pucked out. And 10 seconds later, Katrina Mackey, bang, back in net. And then at that stage it was 2-10, 3-5. Like it was all to play for.
It's all to play for. So James, we've got a little question here. Is there TV coverage of the handball?
Yes, the TV coverage will be on TG Cahir, and it's also more than likely the Americans will be bringing their webcast team over to webcast back to the States. That's what I heard at the moment. But TG Cahir will be recording it. And then there's a program called the GAA Handball Show, which goes out on TG Cahir, which will be shown. That's the plans at the moment. I know that the Americans were looking for, there were some issues with bandwidth, which you wouldn't have in Destination Uri, but there was issues with bandwidth in the City West. And there were, as far as I'm aware, it's being webcasted and it is also being recorded for TG Cahir.
And of course, I think if you get the opportunity to go into the American webcast, it's a fantastic, again, it's a concept like Destination Uri, James,
yes,
to a certain degree, because I have looked at it and it's definitely the way to go. So yes, Mickey, it can be picked up, there's no doubt. What did Shearer say?
Well, Shearer actually, his quote was something like this. It was something like, watching the All-Ireland hurling final, he was at the box last week, and I think Jason McAteer, Robbie Fowler and Steve McManaman were in Croke Park as well last week watching the game. And Shearer was calling on, he's come on Galway. But he said it was like a cross between hockey and second-degree murder.
That's exactly
yes.
And of course, we would say that the hurling was fantastic last week. And of course, the replay, and James, you're calling the replay of the hurling.
I think it's a bit of a Gary Castle cross McGlen, Damien. Unfortunately, Kilkenny, Cody will have him wound up for the final. Like, I know the Galway team, I know the Galway trainers and that, and I know they've put a lot of work and effort into Galway, but they had their chance last week. And with teams like Kilkenny, if you don't put them away, you know, I know people go along and say it'll be close. I don't think it's going to be close the next time.
Well, of course, and next week we have Donegal and Mayo, and I know from my own point of view, and people would slag me off here, I'm not really supporting Mayo, but there's a bit of me wants Mayo to win, and of course there's a big bit of me wants Donegal to win because they're from Ulster, but it's going to be a cracking one, James. How do you see that one panning out?
I've been very lucky over the years that I get to work with a lot of county teams, some that I'll say and some that I won't say because of my involvement with them. But Donegal, in fairness, have taken the training to a new level. I know they're in Maynooth, she's locked down, you can't get into it. Jim has taken them there for the week, and I can't see past Donegal. Andy Moran is a big miss for Mayo. Now, Andy Moran's brother would be a famous handballer for Mayo that would play with Vinny, and Andy is very downhearted about it. I just can't see. People would say there probably is a game in Mayo, but I just can't see him breaking down. Donegal have changed the levels of fitness very much to what Cross are doing currently, to a different level. They're going more into speed endurance. The morning sessions are purely built on developing that initial burst of acceleration, which is something new. Dublin tried it last year and sort of succeeded, and they didn't really push on this year. But I can't see past Donegal. The only problem with the Donegal-Dublin style of play is because it taxes the central nervous system so much, it is very hard to sustain it for long, in the consecutive years, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, Dublin sort of, I know Dublin's celebrations probably had a detrimental effect on him, but it's very hard to maintain that super high fitness level. Something nearly has to give or break down.
Yeah, funny, as I said to you, Damon, they're the fittest team I have ever
yes,
seen, James.
Yes, by
without
far.
a shadow of a doubt. When you see the likes of McGlynn sprinting up the field, taking the ball, scoring like he did in the Ulster final, running back, and then he did it again 3 minutes later.
I have some of the fitness times and that from Donegal this year, and some of the numbers are mind-blowing. If you compare them to some of the NFL teams that are playing at the moment, for VO2 max or pure fitness, they're right there. Mark McHugh and them are right on the edge of it. And I know McGuinness won't be taking it easy this week with them. He will be drilling them to keep to keep that pace up. In fairness, Jim does all the training himself, so he has control over everything. He hasn't all these gurus coming in taking the training. He's very much hands-on and he does it himself. Whether it's following the boys out running on a bike, whatever he has to do, he'll get it done. And I think that I just can't see past him.
Yeah.
But
funny story, I was reading a paper today about thing, the role at Fermanagh, the assistant manager.
Rory Gallagher.
Rory Gallagher.
Yeah.
And seemingly him and McGuinness knew each other from college, like, but it wasn't like they weren't best buddies or something. But seemingly Jim and McGuinness realised the club fitted with him, and that's
Yes.
why he's on board.
Yes.
So obviously you know Jim, but he obviously has, as you say, control of the whole thing, and he obviously has a grip on what.
Yeah.
I say he'd be a very minor details man.
He's the thing is, there was a lot of indiscipline problems in Donegal,
Yeah.
and he removed all that from it. And when he removed it, then he got all the players to buy into his system. And when you have all the players, it's a bit like what Carcruppen have to do against Crossmaglen next week. If you have individuals on the field, like I know from training teams, if you have individuals on the field, they'll give you flashes of brilliance, but the whole team has to play as a unit, and Jim hasn't playing that. Like, to play that sort of football that Donegal do, you have to have intelligent footballers on the field, because if there's a space, you have to be in the space.
Yeah.
Well, James, just as you say that, you know, we will talk about Carcruppen because that was our featured game today, and they scored 4-10 to Sarsfield's not 12. And we go back to the game last week that Destination Newry covered. Carcruppen were dead and buried 29 minutes into the second half, and Paul Keenan scored a great point, and Mark Rice scored just an impossible point from an impossible angle to draw the match. And then get into the game today, there was a lot of people thinking that Carcruppen maybe had lost it, but I know the Carcruppen fellas, but there was a huge turning point in the game today, Simon. Carcruppen were getting beat. They were getting well beat in the middle of the second half, and they hung in there in the 26th minute of the first half. They brought a substitution in, Patrick McCullough, in from New York yesterday. Obviously, he was playing in the New York Championship last week, and we talked about it here for a couple of times because the New York finals on today. Leitrim is playing Kerry later on tonight from our point of view. And McCullough came into the game, James, and you were at it, and he absolutely changed the whole.
If you looked at Carcruppen up to that point, I would class them as sort of journeying along. They were sort of, it looked like Sarsfields were going to run away with it. But when he came into that centre half back, sort of wing half back position, the team just switched on. And for 10 minutes, just when he came on right up to the end, and when they took off in the second half, there was no stopping.
And of course, Sarsfields, they just couldn't get the grips on him because, you know, the physicality of the Cruppen lads. And I know, you know, there's a tough task ahead of them next week. They have a very young forward line. They have Caelan McCullough and Conor Sloan, two minors. You know, but again, these lads are getting game time. They're learning their trade. They're going well. And of course today, well, what can we say about Dackie Carville? I mean, he scored. I think he scored 3 goals and 4 points.
Sure, definitely man of the match today.
And Dagginson song here, I know Dagginson's website.
Yes.
Too. You know, in his song, he can be a match winner.
Well, I think we might have I got an interview with him after Sean. Maybe if Sean can fire it up there for us. Okay, Dackie Carville, probably man of the match, a fantastic performance. You hit the onion bag 3 times, you hit 4 or 5 points, and you said to me earlier on, why am we always interviewing Billy Joe Patton? And I said, if you stick 2 in the net, Declan, I'll interview you. Not alone did you put 2 in the net, you put 3 in the net.
Yeah.
A fabulous performance in the second half.
Yeah, it was great. It was just everyone just sort of chipped in. We knew at half time we were at the point down, we didn't play well in the first half, and just sort of realised that we had to come out with it. We knew had a lot left in the tank, and we just knew we would do it in the second half. It was just everyone was saying there at the start of the week, if we believed in each other, that we would carry on and go into the semi-final next Saturday against Crossmaglen, and hopefully we'll do it there as well. It's a big task, but belief. If you believe in each other, then I think we'll do it.
And of course, Daggy has definitely played well in the second half. And of course, Paddy McCullough coming back from New York, big influence when he came into the game 26 minutes into the first half.
Yeah, great to see him coming back. He just big presence. Paddy's always great in the air. He drove everyone on there from half back line. Him and Billy Joe and John McGill. Thought Plug done well today himself as well. Stephen Harold, Paul Keane. I think everyone was brilliant. It's just good to see. No goals let in today, so not a clean sheet for John, so happy for him too. And of course, Danny Cinnamon was telling me he had you to score the first goal 8-1. He did, yeah.
I don't know what he got for the second or the third one, Daggy.
I don't know if it travelled out or not.
Daggy Carville, man of the match here today from us on the press box. 3 goals, 4 points or 5 points. Congratulations, well done.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Thank you.
A wee bit of a shake in the camera, but Dackie came out and he says to me earlier on, well, he said to me this morning, why do you always interview Billy Joe Patton? And I said, well, Billy Joe's from Mayo, Dackie. But I tell you what, if you score 2 goals today, I'll definitely interview you.
So he scored 3.
He scored 3, 4. So James, we had to interview him.
Yeah, no, he was definitely man of the match today, and one of the comments was coming in from Danny Cinnamon. I think he was very happy with the...
Yeah, Danny Cinnamon had Daggy Carville to score the first goal at 8-1, Simon. So Danny was very happy on that one. So well done to Daggy Carville. And, you know, James, like, when we look at Carcruppen, you know, they scored 4-10 today, and, you know, they're going to be playing Crossmaglen, and obviously the odds are stacked against them. So Carcruppen have nothing to lose next week against the All-Ireland champions. And, you know, everybody was saying, well, it's going to be Crossmaglen's going to get to the final, but who knows?
Listen, it's all on the day. If you were using your head, you would say the Cross are far too powerful in all areas of the field. But it's still a championship game, and I think Cruppen will give as good as they. It's how long that they can hang together and keep working the ball. As we're talking in commentary, the one problem that they seem to have is getting the quick ball into inside forwards. There's a sort of a mix between dropping the high ball in or spreading the ball out to the side. In the first half today, there was a lot of stray balls that skipped out over the line, and that I think if they shore themselves up, they could give Cross a run. Like, if you were a betting man, you'd obviously be betting on Crossmaglen. But listen, next Saturday night in the athletic grounds, when he throws her up,
Jimmy Clark won't be playing, so...
Well, Jimmy, he might be home because I know if they finish today in New York, he'd probably be home. But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if anybody had told me earlier on this year that Carcruppen would be competing in the Armagh semi-final of the championship against Crossmaglen, I would have been saying I'd be better playing that guy that carries the bike on his back playing handball.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
But like even as Jim says, championship is a totally different animal. Now, unfortunately, you are playing probably the greatest championship side that I've ever been in club championships. You know, in any probably in
well,
any
there's
sport,
no
but,
doubt about it. But again, you know, Carcruppen and
it's championship,
Crossmaglen,
yeah.
they have a proud history back over the years of playing each other, and you know, it's going to be.
and isn't it a great way of testing their young players against the best in the
Well,
You
it
want
is.
to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Well, of course it is, and of course when we look down and we see some of the young players from Carcruppen getting an opportunity to play against the All-Ireland champions,
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, it's going to be an experience for them. So
Exactly.
who knows, Simon?
I said Cruppen comes in here, Daggy Carville, the best game he ever played in a Cruppen jersey. Well, he scored 3-4 in the championship. You know,
He
must be.
definitely had a super game today,
Yeah.
and we have him on the screen here
Yeah.
just to prove that. So well done to Carcruppen and well done to Daki.
Just to say, Damien, in Down, the draw was made for the semi-finals, the intermediate, and the senior championship quarter-finals during the week there. And the championship draw for the intermediate turned out as such: Warren Point against Tullerlish, and our my own club, Newry Bosco, against Drumgath. So very interesting. And the senior quarter-finals: Burn against Longstone, Kilcoo against Castlewellan, Rostrevor versus Brantford, and Mayo Bridge versus Savile. So you have three derbies.
Well, Simon, how do you see them games going?
Well, Warren Point, Tullerlish, Warren Point are probably the strongest team in the championship as far as league structure goes, the league position goes. So have to go with the point there. Also against Drumgath, I hate talking about my own club in this situation.
the curse.
Of course. Now, to be brutally honest, if we played like we played last night in the league, we were shocking last night. And the boys all know that. And poor Brad Irwin tore his hair out, like myself. And but it was one of those games, Damien, where anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
But Simon,
this pass had been missed. You know, Chris Duncan couldn't go hit the post. It was just a litany of disasters.
Well,
You're better getting out of the road now, maybe.
Yes, because Carcruppen played Sarsfields 3 weeks ago down in the High Moss.
That's
in the
right,
league match,
yeah.
And Carcruppen got absolutely tanked. Last week, they drew the match, and today, you know, and I always believe over a replay, the best team over the 2 games wins.
Yeah.
And Carcruppen proved that today. So, Simon, I wouldn't.
I went to like
I
Warren
wouldn't be
Point
too worried.
actually absolutely hammered Paddy Martin in the intermediate championships quarterfinals, and Paddy Martin gave us a bit of a hammering last night. Now, again, you know, it's on the day, but I have to say at the minute, Drumgath are flying. They beat Annaclone, who are the favourites to win the intermediate, and probably go well in Ulster intermediate in the quarters. And I know for a fact that Packy Downey is flying to them, and I've said it a couple of weeks ago on the programme. So it'll be a very interesting fixture. Those fixtures are on the 5th, 6th and 7th of October.
And of
So
course,
I say in the senior, Burn against Longstone is probably the pick of those games. The Stone are played very well. I saw the first half of their game against the Kingdom. They're very, very strong half forward line, obviously with Ambrose and Mark Poland. The Burn are just Burn, you know what I mean?
well, we know it, yes.
You know, they're
Born-
up
born
against
so.
there. So, Kilcoo against Castlewellan.
Local derby.
Local derby. You'd have to fancy Kilcoo,
Kilcoo,
even though
that
Kilcastle might have a fine tradition in the championship. Rostrevor against Brantford. Rostrevor's forwards, Davy Carr was watching that game and he was telling me that Rostrevor's forwards are flying at the minute.
Well, that game was covered. It was Trevor's last game was Destiny, and they looked pretty impressive.
Yes, and I have a fancy for Trevor in that game. And again, the bridge against Saville. Now, the last time they played was a draw, and that's not a little derby.
But I suppose, Simon, Danny Hughes a huge loss for Saville.
Yeah. So the debate is maybe Danny will be back, but from what I can gather, and what Damien was telling us a couple of weeks ago on Destination Uri, that Danny might probably be out for the rest of the season. And if Danny's not able to play in that game, he will be.
Yeah, the mess. So you
Big
both
time,
Does Pete McGrath manage Brainsford?
He does, yes.
He does,
yeah, he does. So, be very interesting. All the crack started about.
Oh, yeah.
And once he gets the nitty-gritty semi-finals.
Oh, well, you're doing that. So
quarter-finals, it's just.
Well, last night in the other intermediate semi-final in Armagh, we had Wolf Tones against St Peter's. And the match ended up a draw, 1-11 to 1-11. And it was played in Clonerne. There was a huge crowd at it. It was a cracking game of football. And I sort of thought that maybe St Peter's would win that one, but I got well scolded from one of my friends in Wolf Tones. He says, what about the Tones? I said, well, I seen Wolf Tones this year and I seen St Peter's, and St Peter's were pretty impressive, James. They played against Silver Bridge and Carcruppen, and they give Silver Bridge a roasting in that one.
Yeah.
So they look pretty impressive, but fair play to the Tones, so that's a replay.
Yeah, the Tones though, I thought Grange were leading the Tones by 6 points or something, and they let it slip. Speaking to Desi McDonald this morning, who was one of the umpires at the match, he believed the Tones were the better team on the night, but St Peter's clipped the draw, so it's
all to play for.
Heads up for the next one.
And then, of course, Killevy's in the final, so Killevy with the winners of that.
Yeah.
And then we're down to the semi-final in the Armagh Championship. We're looking at Crossmaglen and Carcruppen. We're looking at Pierce Oaks and Cullyhanna. James, Pierce Oaks and Cullyhanna.
That's going to be a good, strong referee required for the Pierce Oaks Cullyhanna game. There'll be McKeever, that's a big miss to Cullyhanna. But I just see Pierce Oaks having too much firepower for that one.
I think McKeever, he could be home for that one.
All right.
Their final's on today.
Well, maybe, yeah.
and Kerry's on today. Yeah. So if I would say,
it's going to be a big plus for them.
Oh
yeah, that's right.
Super charge for them. There's no question about that. And of course, we have to thank Design Works Ireland for sponsoring the show here this evening, Simon. Because without them, we wouldn't be here.
And of course, another thing I want to talk about is 3 of our local young ladies international
doing awful well.
Yeah. People, if you don't know, Northern Ireland 17s qualified for the next phase of the European Championships. They had a 3-match run turnaround there this week. They drew 0-0 with England on Monday. They beat Italy 1-0 on Wednesday night, and Maya Feehan scored the winner. Excellent. And they beat Israel last night, and they beat them 4-1. And Amy Mackin was one of the scorers as well.
My next door neighbour.
Yeah. So you're talking about 3, and Glenn McCarroll also, Nuri, is on the squad as well. So you're talking about 3 young ladies doing very, very well at international level.
So well done to
hopefully we get them in sometime.
Yes, absolutely. Next weekend, by the way, folks. Next weekend, obviously the All Ireland final day. We'll have a good debate about that, and we have some of the Armagh ladies coming in who will be playing the following week in Croke Park. Hopefully we'll be able to have a good crack with them. We had a wee bit of a press night, and of course there'll be a wee interview up this week from the Armagh ladies on Destination Uri. But Simon, we're just looking at the clock here. We're running down. James, that hour has absolutely flew by. Don't forget, of course, you can get your Destination Uri app, and as James says, you can get it on your iPod or your Android or whatever, and just clip into it, and you're tied in with it straight away. And again, reaching out around the world, as I said, from Timbuktu to Tullysarn, Simon.
From Cookstown to Crossmaglen.
From Russia to Cookstown to Crossmaglen, whatever. I just picked up the paper here, Simon, and you showed me a little thing here. Clubs can do little to stop the loss of players. And just when I'm reading this, that there was 40,200, or 53%, were Irish nationals who left the country last year. More startling, most of the men who have left are aged between 15 and 24, and the total number of people in that age bracket who have emigrated in the last 12 months is 33,100, almost half of the total. That is absolutely scary. Now, and given it has a huge effect on GAA, soccer, rugby, and all sports.
All sports. And I've read that article in detail, Damien. Another thing, James, believe it or not, I was just reading there was 104 transfers in Down last year, right? Right? One player moved within 2 clubs in this country. That meant 103 players transferred out of the country.
And of course,
because the GAA has obviously a transfer system, you are able to keep records, and these records are startling. One of the biggest affected regions, believe it or not, obviously your own club has my own club. All clubs have been affected by it. Seemingly South Kerry has been absolutely decimated by it. And
obviously Donegal and the West.
And like you were just saying that a lot of Craigcroppen boys were watching the game in Australia.
That's right. Yeah.
There's 13 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, they're all around. They're all over Australia watching the game today.
Yeah, and like that is probably as far as sports is concerned in this country, and even handball, sure, that is probably a very, very scary statistic.
It is, and hopefully the powers that be start to look at it, because it is a scary statistic. But we're rattling towards the end of the top of the hour, and our manager Sean is giving us the look over the top of the screens. He said, lads, we know you are enjoying the crack there, but we're coming to the end of the show. But Simon, again, we're all in black here tonight.
Yeah, men in black.
Men in black.
Three.
Yeah. And it wasn't intentional, but that's the way it worked out. Of course, we'll let you know during the week what matches we'll be covering next weekend. Of course, James, it was great to have you on board on Destination Uri's commentary today, and due to your expertise today, I'll be keeping your number on my phone to say, James, we have more matches coming up. Do you fancy coming on board? It is definitely.
It's anybody who is a commentator, and that you have to appreciate their talent. Like, for what you do, it's if you put somebody in behind the glass and give them a microphone and ask them to describe what's been shown, not everybody can do it. You can.
Well, we try our best.
I know, especially. I remember standing watching the Ulster semi-final between Crossmaglen and St. Gall's down in Uri, and you came out with one of your classics was a long high diagonal ball up the middle.
yes.
A long high diagonal ball. Well, of course you knew exactly what I was talking about.
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
And just on that one, I remember the ball dropping in towards Paul Hurdy, and the ball dropped. I sort of let on. It was very close, but it wasn't. And then the one from Crossmaglen was going to beat me because it was giving her a heart attack. But before we finish, and we're coming right close to the end, James, Oisin McConville, this is your life. Last weekend, a huge night, and what a player.
Yeah, I seen the pictures and that in the Democrat. Like, if there was a night organised for Oisin, the whole country would be at it. Like, fantastic. Did he quit Armagh football too early? Is the big dilemma. I know Oisin very well, and I've had the luxury of training him in Cross a couple of years back, and when he lines out on the field, he can still do it. Him and Stevie McDonald, there's the two question marks in my mind.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it.
He's still doing it.
Like, if you look at any Cross game, you might think Oisin did enough, and then you suddenly walk and you look at your Oisin scored an 6 today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course a legend, probably one of the greatest
greatest,
that Armagh ever had. So
brilliant.
Another great comment here, David. I'm watching this on the TV, 200 quid box from Curry's Connect, internet to TV. Some job, full screen sound, blasting around the house.
Well done, Charlie. It's great.
Brilliant, Charlie. It's right.
It's great to have you.
We must be some sight in a big screen TV.
Yeah. And we've just got to check the shout box, and of course that's where your comments are coming in. It's great. Somebody said, "Sir, excellent show. It's great." And of course, it's easy when we have guests like James Doyle, legendary super handballer, super athlete. He has overcome all the obstacles. He's heading towards the Worlds in October. And Simon, if I get talking to Cahill here in Destination Uri, maybe we could get up there and do a show from the City West. Not live, but just a show. Wouldn't it be?
Just to say that, Dara's just come online and he just said, we will be, Destination Uri will be covering GA games from Parkcast this weekend.
So there we have it. So a couple of games from Destination Uri this weekend. So we're past the top of the hour here, and we're getting messages left, right and centre to call it in. And I have to say to Sean, thanks a million for helping us out here this afternoon. We come down late from Armagh. Sean was in here getting the whole studio sorted out here, and we had good fun here. So hopefully that everybody enjoyed our coverage here tonight. James makes it easier.
He does.
And of course, it's not often we get to meet world champions, but we have them here in Destination Uri. It also proves that Destination Uri are up there with the best, Simon. We're even dressed like
dress code.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike. So thanks a million for tuning in this evening, watching us, listening to us this afternoon in the games around the world, wherever you were listening or watching. We appreciate it. And of course, you can pick up the show tomorrow. It will be up tomorrow evening. And don't forget, you can still leave messages in the wee bar underneath us in the shout box and let us know what you think. And if you would like some questions to be asked to our guests, next week or the following week, we have a huge guest coming in on the 7th of October. I'll let you know about that next week. It's going to be a cracking one. And Stevie McDonald says he'll come in. So James, maybe we'll get James to talk to Oisin and see can we get him in. But I'll be talking to Oisin next Saturday at the Craigcroppen match, saying after the game, Oisin, maybe you'll come in and talk to some of these evenings. So thanks to Simon, thanks to James,
Damien.
thanks
Thank
to
you.
Shauna in the background, and Sean, our production manager for this evening. And most of all, thanks to everybody for listening in, because this evening flew, and I could go on, but Sean says it's time to call it. Time to call it to an end. So Simon, thanks a million. James, thanks a million
Thank
for
you very
coming
much
in.
for inviting me.
And Sean, our production manager, thanks. And again, thanks to you for listening and watching here on Destination Uri. Until next week, don't forget Destination Uri. DestinationUri.com, the best show in the country.